The Trackside Lounge, it's episode 8. Before we go any further, though, there's something we have to kind of address from last time you saw us. The mic drop.
This is tight now. It's okay.
Yeah. Now, that was absolutely hilarious, and I don't know if you actually saw the little thing that he put up there, like and subscribe to see some more mic drops. Well, we actually had that set up as a blooper because there was a little bit of content after that, and the look on your face was precious.
The thing I really liked is we just carried on like it never happened.
We don't get phased here at the Trackside Lounge. We just go with the flow. No script, no particular plan. We just like talking motorsport.
So I got texts afterwards. Who did you upset?
Everybody. We tried to upset everybody, but equally, no one gets special treatment here. Supercars, the double header in New Zealand. There was the Taupo round, and of course, everyone was looking forward to the one at Ruapuna. However, there's been some thoughts on it saying it had a kind of, I guess I'd call it a retro feel to it.
Yeah, a little bit primitive, I heard, as far as the facilities. Obviously, the pit lane was very tight. You had some teams set up by the medical ways, and some teams set up way down there.
Sort of making it a really short trip if anything goes horribly wrong. They're right next door.
Absolutely. And also, because it was so tight, there was the rule no double stacking at all. And I mean, by all accounts, I can't think of anybody that rule hurt. Like, I don't think there was anybody. I would have done better in my race if only we'd double stacked. I feel like we would have heard if that narrative was a possibility. But I mean, by all accounts, the drivers loved it. They made an absolute rallycross course of the place because of all the dust. But I mean, it all sort of, every time this sort of thing happens, the question all comes up about tracks having character. And if Christchurch's character is that it kicks up dust, I mean, to be fair, that one turn, they could put a bit of pavement there and make a bit of a runoff. But by and large, I mean, we don't want tracks with just wide open runoffs that don't punish mistakes.
And the thing about that is, like, next time, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be a next time down there, they'll be able to do exactly like you said, pave that corner out, because now they know what to expect from it. But I'm actually one that sits on the side of it saying it looked pretty good as a spectator's point of view. It looked really good. And by all accounts, the drivers loved it, the elbows up style, and Rubbins racing. Apart from that one wheel that fell off.
Well, on that too, I mean, for all the drivers to be abusing the crap out of those track limits and kicking up all that dust and stuff, the tyres, you didn't hear any issues of tyres, suffering or blowing. There's rocks and there's debris and there's all sorts of nasties in that dirt. But, for the sake of 4 races, because they had the extra race with the Taupo, with the cyclone and all that, 4 races, and everybody was kicking up dust and dirt and grime, and no tyre failures. A wheel fell off, but that was one of those ones.
I think that was a wheel wasn't put on properly.
Yeah, the crew knew they were hosed immediately. As soon as it left the gate, they were like, we risked so much. Yeah, anyway. But yeah, it's really kind of made me not care about the whole Project 29 thing.
Oh, well, that's interesting, because I mean, we all got to start somewhere, don't we? I mean, and they started somewhere, and you're right. No one was handicapped, but there was a slight handicap there because to avoid the double stack, some of the teams brought their second driver, their not so well positioned car in quite early. And they were rolling the dice on a safety car in most instances. And I think the first 3 races we didn't even see a safety car, if I remember rightly. It was virtually trouble free. It might be the first 2 races, and then a few issues happened. But interestingly, the third corner with all the dust is actually called Pothole down there at Christchurch. I think by the end of it was called Trench. And what really ruined that, and I don't mean the track's fault per se, because the drivers were exploring track limits, but it put so much swarf onto the track at that area, it became quite problematic to the point where guys were trying to cut the corner a little bit more, and then they were encountering swarf from that corner and then understeering to go back out to the ditch. So they tried to fix it, but I think it's funny, I had to talk to a very, I won't say who it was, but a very smart person down at Taupo on the weekend. I was down there, and he's very much in the know of tracks and that. And I said, well, why don't they just do the track limit thing? Same as Taupo, do the track limits thing. If you climb over, like at Adelaide and all that, if you go over, you get so many things and you get the black flag or the black and white flag for going. And he said, New Zealand doesn't have those facilities. We don't have those lines in the track that actually for them to pick up. And you'd think, well, the backstory would be go for the white lines, 4 wheels over the white line, then you're relying on cameras, one person or people have to sit there and watch every lap, every car, 4 wheels.
And think about that. I mean, it's bad enough when you're watching games like rugby league, every time we go to the camera, or cricket, is he in, is he out, that sort of thing. You'd have to stop the race and go, sorry, I think you were full limits there, and then there'd be opportunities for an argument, and most people would then go home. So in the interests of just having a good race, and look, all the other tracks have already got those things. There's one track that doesn't have them, and that's a little bit of fun. That is like absolutely rolling the dice. That puts a bit of a thrill into the whole race again.
And like we said about the calendar having variety. I mean, you've got your blisteringly fast tracks, you've got your street tracks, you've got your more dangerous tracks as far as, you need to be brave to be fast. But, I mean, even the support category races were cool. Did you see some of those heritage touring
Man, I love that. I really enjoyed that.
And the R32.
Gearbox Stu, we're going to call him, because he broke Lisa's gearbox and she's not happy.
Whoops.
But the other thing too, the mayor, last name Majors, in relation to Ivan Majors, Mayor Majors, he was driving in the race. He was driving, not in the supercars, he was driving one of the races in the older historic cars. Now, not only that, as soon as supercars were over in Christchurch, guess who was championing the cause of we're going to get resource consent in there for more pits. We're going to get resource consent in there for whatever they have to do. And, that really harkens back to Christchurch, who had the supercars there. They just recently had the Super Rugby there as well.
Yep, brand new stadium.
Massive, massive. I was a bit snippy about Christchurch and the price gouging on the accommodation. I'm not going to mess around on that. But well done to them for putting on 2 awesome events. But they also need more grandstanding. It has to be said. They were sold out for 20,000 people per day, and there were people there at every vantage point they possibly could. So they need more spectators. What a great problem to have, because it was certainly down on numbers for Taupo. But I think it's great. We should celebrate that. That was the first time we've seen them at Christchurch. The drivers have all now they didn't have last year, they didn't have any data. Now they've got data. So 2027 is going to be a massive, massive one. And, whether we get down there or not, we can still got popcorn and sit in the armchair, or we'll go down there and have a bit of a look. But it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, they were definitely... they would have been putting together the shopping list. Like you say, need to upgrade this, need to pave that, need to do that. They've got 3 more rounds. I think they're locked in until 2028.
Yep.
So, anyway.
So 27, two more rounds,
Handful of more rounds. And then by that point, obviously, then they get to talk about renegotiating. Do they extend? Do they go somewhere else?
Does Thunder Ridge come into play?
And I mentioned before about Project 29, which is the Quinn Consortium's goal of having supercars at Highlands in 2029. I don't really know that I'm fussed at the moment. I see it, but it's cool having a different track. And, I mean... even for the spectator viewing.
Look, mate, Christchurch is close to the ports. It's close to the ferry. It's close to a lot of things to drive down and set up. I mean, Tony knows he's going to be swimming against the tide on this, because not only that, you're right beside Queenstown, which is sort of kind of busy at any different day of the week. Are you going to have room for another 30, 40,000 people per day? He's going to put up this, he's going to do that. Wonderful, but remember, it's basically a demonstration track, Highlands, and it's a great facility. I'm not poo-pooing the place at all, but it's a demonstration track. It doesn't have pits, it doesn't have grandstand, it doesn't have... And because you're so in the middle of the island, I mean, you've got a better chance of getting Manfield across the line than you have Highlands.
Well, that's something to consider on that one, and that's speculation for what's happening, but... basically, we all agree Ruapuna was a success.
Oh, huge success.
100%.
Massive.
All right.
So much popcorn eaten, such a great time.
Now, we were all involved at different places, motorsport, in the weekend just gone. You were talking about being down in Taupo. Is
Yes.
the NZIGP?
Yep.
You're the commentator bloke for the...
my first season of doing commentary for NZIGP, and I just I'm enjoying it. I hope I'm good. I'm really enjoying it too much. I don't ever want to leave. But no, look, they put on some great racing. I got told on the weekend it's going to be a good turnout. The 105 drivers across a whole plethora of categories.
Plethora?
I know, it's my word.
Wow.
It's a big word too, plethora.
Make a note of that, plethora.
Look it up, Plethora.
Got it.
But it wasn't 105, it was 125 drivers there.
Which is more of a plethora.
Massively awesome. Fog was the issue on the Saturday morning. Luckily, they got through.
Hey, Angus worked hard on that car. You don't have to do him like that.
I apologise, Angus. It was him.
And so it was really cool. And then they managed to have sites. So where you commentate, the far corner with the club rooms is turn 11. That's a kilometre away, and couldn't see it because of the fog. looking at race control, they got cameras all around the place. Now, 2 more cameras this year than last year, so that's very good. I found that out from the track manager. And so all the corners were covered. Turn 10 wasn't seen by the cameras. They had boots on the ground to see it. Same thing with the Sunday. We lost 2 hours of fog on the Sunday. Somehow we finished 30 minutes later. We still had a lunch break. I don't know how NZIGP did that. It was fantastic racing. So much good racing. I could go on for hours about it, but I think the highlight race for me was on the Sunday. The V8 Utes turned up on the Sunday only.
Yeah.
And I know you're expecting that it's going to be gangbusters, and all they did was they did a 15-minute qualifying and a 1 hour enduro at the end of the Sunday. It was the last race of the weekend. That's all they did, was a quali and a 1 hour race. It wasn't about the V8 Ute racing. They behaved themselves beautifully. It was the 6-cylinder class they've included into the V8s now. And there's Christina Orwest in a Falcon, AU Falcon. Now, I don't actually follow Christina Orwest very much. I mean, not because of any reason other than it's just she's not usually driving what I'm sort of watching at that time. This kid can drive. I mean, she's probably not a kid anymore. So I remember her when she was knee-high of a grasshopper. She's, I don't know how old she is. The point is, she's amazing talent. She's right up on the back end of the one of the slowest of the V8 Utes, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. She was flying. I mean, stayed on the same lap as everybody, just flying. And then it must be that the 6s had to go and pit. But other than that, I reckon she would have been right up there for a fantastic, and won the 6 class. And there's another lady in there as well. I think a relative newcomer. She was really, really good. But the 6s being involved with the 8s, that was my race of the weekend, and
it worked really well?
drive of the weekend. Yeah, well and truly. Only one race, but it's an enduro, a 1 hour enduro. But all the other classes. HVRA were there, Heritage were there, Porsches were there. They ran on the Saturday only, but they did a really good program. Our old mate Racing Ray was there in his Piranha, his Ford Capri.
Love that car.
Oh, gosh, it was great. And they've got another one in a few weeks' time, and that's their season finale at Hampton Downs. So stay tuned on that one. And there's some really good ticket deals. They've been doing early bird tickets, $15 for the day, per day, or $30 for the weekend. That's really good, eh? That's ridiculously good.
Do you get to go into pits and walk around and stuff like that?
Go right around the whole, everywhere except on the track, and go right around the whole facility. Really good camera points. Not a great sit in one place viewage, Hampton, as we know, but you can go around there and around most of the track.
Go along and watch, because these events need to be supported.
And the other thing is, I mean, just to be part of it. But for me, like, rather than watch the races, I want to be down in the pits. I want to look at the cars, especially the historic races. That is something that really appeals to me.
And at Taupo, they had people in grandstands at Taupo. They actually had, I know, it's like you had 20,000 whatever people they had there a couple of weeks before, and then this Saturday just gone, Sunday, they had people, like quite a decent bunch of people. It would have been, probably got 100, 150 people around the grandstands.
So when is the next one?
The pits. I don't have the date on me right now.
I mean,
he's commentating.
But we'll do another one before then. This next weekend is Waikaraka Park's Derby, so it's not then. But I'll have. You just put me on the spot there. I didn't have the date.
Actually,
but we will have more. But this Saturday is Waikaraka on the Demolition Derby.
Speaking of Waikaraka, it was the Superstocks teams racing at Waikaraka on the weekend. You weren't there,
no,
which was disappointing for some people. I was there, and a guy from Rotorua joined Hans in the commentary, and great commentary on this racing on Sunday. It was a little disappointing in so much that the rain we had, a big fall of rain, got into the track. We've had problems with the track at Waikaraka for a number of weeks. They felt like they were getting on top of it. The track prep hadn't gone to the point where they'd sealed it off properly, so it just kind of soaked in. And
so it wasn't anything in the track, like stone, like
the track was super grippy, grippy, good clay. It's just that it was just too wet. Now that caused a bit of a problem with the Superstocks teams drivers. A lot of guys saying they went out and did some sighting laps, came back in and said, no, that's too dangerous. So there was a lot of work done, and for the people who were watching on the feed and actually turned up, it was very disappointing for them. Towards the end of the night, we got the Superstocks teams out there. The track was working well. A couple of really interesting things. The Stratford team, the Stratford Scrappers, because it was so dangerous, there was a lot of the teams were saying, well, we're not going to race on this. Maybe we should do it all on Saturday night. Yep. Speedway New Zealand said, no, it's got to be done like this. Stratford said, we're not going to do it, it's too dangerous. That's what they said at the inset, and they stayed with that all night and consequently withdrew. There's a reason behind that, and if you go and you want to bother and talk to them and find out why, you will understand 100% why.
They weren't actually being precious, were they?
No, not at all.
That's their choice.
The rest of the guys, and it was quite late when we got it under control, but the Manawatu Mustangs finished top of the heap. Great trip. the reigning champions, Auckland, the Auckland All-Stars, bottom of the lowest point scorers. So it was all on for Sunday. Sunday, Manawatu Mustangs up against Auckland, 1v6. Auckland, clean sweep. Manawatu Mustangs, 0. Nil point. And this is where I learned about teams racing. It was a frippin' masterclass.
This is new to you, isn't
I know, but you see, I was watching it and I'm trying to understand the tactics. I just thought it was a big crash and bash fest. But there was a lot of thought went into this. Auckland went out with a plan. Manawatu's plan was to be, because we're the biggest point scorers, we got big, hard, fast metal, we're going to go, we can take them out. Unfortunately, they ended up taking out their own players. And that, of course, played into Auckland's hands. They suddenly got in control in the last part of it, walked away with it. And they ended up going up in the final as well. But
Auckland did?
Yeah.
I didn't even see the results yet. Okay.
Ooh, credit where credit's due. The Gisborne Giants, the winningest teams, superstock teams race. They haven't dropped a race this year, haven't dropped a contest. They've beaten every single team in the country and they took it out. And that was a masterclass as well. I've got to say, Ethan and Asher Reese. There was a point where they were flying around the track and the commentary team was saying, do they realise the Auckland car they're chasing isn't in the lead, that they are sitting 1 and 2? That was part of the plan. It was actually part of the plan. I talked to them afterwards and it was a masterful piece of driving. But I got it. I got teams racing. So much so, Auckland All-Stars have asked me if I want to join the team for a bit of background stuff, and maybe we'll head down to the Champs in Palmerston North, because they said, if you enjoyed this, you're going to love that. But I got to say, I really did enjoy it. There were a couple of standout moments for me. The Rotorua Rebels, Jessie Wilson Henderson, 88R, she's been racing for a while. She got her debut win in teams racing, and she was spectacular. But she's had a great career in stock cars, mini stocks, and I'm quoting her directly, and I may have got it wrong, and if Jessie, you're watching this, feel free to tell me where I went wrong. But you told me on Sunday, this season you've spent more time in the seat on tracks in a superstock than any other driver, which technically made you the most qualified driver there on Sunday night. That's what she said. We both laughed about it later, but we never bothered to check because I'm not going to steal anything away from her. She drove brilliantly. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Teams racing, I'm on.
Was there any controversies of the racing? Because I hear there is.
There was a protest in the final. But as far as I know at this stage, Gisborne Giants.
I've seen a video that actually shows that young Chatfield is the leader. He gets past the leading Gisborne car and never gets past to the checkered flag. And Auckland swear, and they're not even getting snippy about it. They're just going, "We won. It's ours." And it's like, ooh, watch the space on that one, because
that's a pretty hard thing to miss if you've got footage of a car not being passed. That's not the sort of thing that you can just sort of overlook.
And manual lap scoring, actually, that's been shown as well, and the lap scoring from, I think it's Speedhive as well. So there's a whole lot of little things, and the only reason I bring that up, I'm not trying to be sensationalist, it's out there in the public forum, and we're not completely,
we're only going by what we
we're going by what we've seen, and I've seen it from, and I won't call him a very smart man, because I don't like saying that about Craig, but he's not stupid, and it's all done very, very nicely. It's a case of, well, here's the details, here's the thing, here's the video, A plus B equals C, what do you reckon? And so it's quite interesting, but I believe there's more to come on that. But nonetheless, well done. Racing. Getting the event across the line on Sunday sounds like it's a cracker.
Sunday sounds like it was a whole step up from the Saturday.
Got to say though, the window for the track performance was really short. Like, we had problems on Saturday, we got a bit of a track, some work done on Sunday to make the track work. We got through to the teams racing, and we got the modifieds and the super saloons out there. Then the super stocks went out for the winner take all, and the track started to just disappear. And in turn 3, this is the scary bit. A super stock at full noise gets launched out of the track, full wheels off the ground. Yeah, and that's why it was considered dangerous on Saturday. Luckily, we repaired it, but clearly there's a lot more work to be done on the track as well for a competitive season coming up, and Waikaraka are already prepared to get into that and get it done.
So much happened at Waikaraka on the Saturday and the Sunday, and a couple of little shout-outs there too. Brad Lane, who doesn't actually know how to use 4 wheels of a race car. He seldom stays on 3 wheels, and there's a very good shot of him coming around one of the, I think it's turn 1, 2 wheels. He's completely doing a wheel stand.
Now, I'm going to jump in here.
He's going to stop me there?
Yeah, going to stop you there. Brad Lane wasn't even on the entry sheet for Waikaraka.
He was busy on Sunday.
He was busy on Sunday, so he didn't think he'd make it. But he did call in, and here's the interesting thing. Because he was a late entry, he had to start at the back of the pack, both heats, and he drove from dead last to first, and he took out the Auckland champs in modified. So the guy's a hell of a driver. But where was he earlier that he thought he wouldn't be able to make Waikaraka Park? It was another Speedway track.
He was somewhere.
Well, I was at Taupo and you were at Waikaraka, so we couldn't be there. So I wonder who we could send to 21 Speedway down in Mirror. Oh, wait.
I might have popped down for a little look-see. What a place. What a place. So 21 Speedway, obviously we went and talked with Kerry and we talked with Lloyd and we got the first laps around the track.
We did.
Got a bit of a preview of what was to come. So on Sunday, went down and had a look. They had an open test and tune. What a turnout. I mean, they had, was it like $10 tickets for spectators online? They had 1,000 tickets sold out.
Yep.
I don't know how many more at the gate sales they had, but the place was just packed. You had top of the hill, you had around the hill, you had all the spots that people could set up a deck chair or a camping chair and just watch. And as many classes too. I mean, you had your sprint cars, you had your midgets, you had
F2s.
saloons. Yep, F2s. There was some vintage as well, vintage machinery.
Stock cars turned
mini
up?
stocks and stock cars.
Yeah.
I mean, just like you name it. And I didn't get to see the exact program, but it looked like every class sort of got, maybe half a dozen laps, right? So it's a test and tune. It's not a race, it's not long enough to really get into a race mode, but it's enough to go out, give it a nudge, sort of start to get into a comfortable rhythm, and then obviously they peel you off. They all look so comfortable, so fast, immediately.
And you had a chat to Rodney Wood.
Had to talk to Rodney Wood. I suppose we may as well just show you what he had to say about it.
All right, so as one of the national authorities on dirt racing tracks, Rodney Wood, there's a lot of people online that are going to want to know your thoughts on the new 21 Speedway, mate.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. It's got good shape to it all round. It's going to get some really fast racing going on. Obviously today, first day out, they're just breaking things in and everybody's getting a feel of it, but it's going to be pretty cool.
This is obviously just a test and tune, so you're only getting sort of half a dozen laps at a time. It's not really a race meeting, but I mean, how much fun are you having sort of going out there, and what's it like to be on such a wide open oval? Yeah,
no, it's pretty cool, and you could sort of start to do some laps there without lifting, so that was pretty cool. I haven't quite got up to real high yet, just seems a little marbly still up the top, but they might put a bit of water on that during this lunch break, and then we'll be able to get running up the top.
How hard were you pushing, mate? Because, I mean, you're probably still a bit stiff and sore from your last recent tumble, but, giving it a bit of a nudge?
No, yeah, giving it a nudge. So the body's pretty much all right, so that's fine. We have been having some issues. The car has a really weird feel to it, and we haven't since my crash. So we've been trying to sort out, swapped all the front axle and everything from the last meeting. We're probably going to swap a steering box now because it's just something's not quite right in the field. So we're going to just swap a box now and see if that eliminates that.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Appreciate your time, and it's awesome seeing this place come back to life after 30 years.
Yeah. Well, it was well before my time. I was never in sprint cars when this place was sort of doing its thing. So to be able to get here and see it, this is actually my seeing it for the first time, was pretty awesome. And credit to Kerry and all the guys that he's got behind him doing this, and big undertaking, and to open the gate to the public and try and pull off what they've done today when it is still probably premature in a way, but it's good to get a shakedown today so they know what to do during the winter, and then come next season they can sort of hit the ground with everything in its right place and doing it right.
Yeah, appreciate it, Rodney. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be here.
And was that the same? So that was fantastic. But was that the same car that he had a big bang in the car a while ago? Was that the same car that he had a big tumble?
That was the same.
Yeah,
car.
I think that was Cole's car.
Because he was chasing.
Right.
I mean, he even said he was chasing a few steering gremlins, and it's just a few little bits and bits. That was the only reason he wasn't yet go. Because Rodney's usually one of the first to throw it into the high line.
And
just absolutely hang the
And
outside.
what about that rear tyre? That's a different looking rear tyre too, isn't it? It's got some sort of is that like a wet weather tread on or something?
From what I understand, you have two sets of tyres. You've got Hoosier's American Racer.
Right.
American Racer, I've been told, suits harder, drier tracks better, different compounds, different manufacturing of it. So Rodney would have been running that because, see, and this is the other weird thing, same amount of rain, but a really nicely hard-packed track. But I will say this in defence of Waikaraka, they haven't had 7 years to sit around preparing the track with no other cars racing on it. And that's what happened at Meri. You have a beautiful track, really well set up. Everyone was talking about it. I saw some footage of TQs. They had TQs out there. Who were a third of the way up the bank, flying out, going around sideways. And I was talking to some of the racers on Saturday who were going out there. TQs were carrying a special set of gears because they knew it was going to be quick. And how quick was it though? Because it looked pretty fast.
What speeds were they getting up to?
There was a guy with a speed gun, one of those little speed radar guns, and
that's the only time I ever liked speed radar guns, by the way.
No, exactly. Well, because
sorry, officer.
Everybody who's there, right? Everyone wants to be the pioneer.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, dude, the amount of media that you had there, the amount of people that you had, probably amateur timekeepers wanting to sort of all those initial lap records. And to be fair, I'd be interested to hear what the initial lap records were if anyone was timing. But as far as speeds, I think mini stocks were clocked at 65 mile an hour, stock cars 75. I think the midgets were sort of at or around the 100 mile an hour mark. And the sprint cars, I can't remember who was the top one, but
Stephen Taylor.
I saw 115 mile an hour.
Okay.
115?
185.
Yeah, Jonathan Allard went faster than that, and Stephen Taylor, I think, was nudging 120 because Jonathan Allard popped an engine. Had a slight problem with one of the valves. But the interesting thing about Stephen Taylor, watching him perform in the sprint cars, he's always been there or thereabouts, like mid to top performer. But man, he got hold of that track, and if you watch the video, it's the yellow and orange sprint car out in front. Watch the way he addresses every single corner. He comes down the straight and then he literally throws the car out like it's a rally car and keeps the hammer down. That engine was pinned, and I've got this from the engine builder, the engine was pinned for the full lap. That's full noise.
And that's what Rodney said. He actually got to a stage he didn't have to back off.
Yeah.
How mad is
And
that?
for
I
the
mean, we're
amount
talking
of,
900 horsepower.
For the amount of variety that was on it, you had your fat tyres, you had your skinny tyres, you had your really skinny tyres. Vintage cars are not on much rubber.
No.
But the track just held up so well.
Yeah.
And you're watching like midgets go flying past, and there's just that little dusting that come off as they're flying it around, and it just looked like a phenomenal track. Obviously you sort of wonder what it's going to look like in a race meeting scenario with the pits, because obviously they leaned a lot on the Meri dirt tracks, real estate for having cars and having push vehicles and quads and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know that you'd be able to have the dirt track and the 21 Speedway operating
at the same time.
They'd race on Saturdays, wouldn't they? 21 Speedway and Meri on the Sunday if they do have it close, surely.
When we spoke to Kerry, he was talking about there's no reason why you couldn't race at Waikaraka on a Saturday and then come down on a Sunday for a part two.
Yeah.
Just going off what we saw on Sunday, the pits were, they weren't chock-a-blocker, but there certainly wasn't that much elbow room.
Yep. Oh, yeah, but to be fair, there's a lot of tracks around that you go to, there's not a lot of elbow room at other tracks. So, to be fair again, once we spoke to Kerry when we went and had a look at it, this is part one of the ongoing project, and there will be development, particularly with the interest that has shown up, and it really was impressive stuff to watch. Oh, and just a little note, Brad Lane, if you are searching for little bits for 21 Speedway, watch for Brad Lane's modified.
Yeah.
Doing 3 wheels all the way around the circuit. The guy was flat out.
This is where you know Speedway better than I do. I've never said I'm a Speedway aficionado. I've been doing Waikaraka for a long time. I'm just not that guy. I'm a circuit guy. He's turning left with 600-700 horsepower. Turning left, so loading up the right front wheel, going round, right front wheels coming off the ground, and I know we don't have to go into whole physics about the thing, I understand that, but that just blew my mind about that's wrong for so many reasons.
Remember, the drive on a sprint car and a modified comes from your left rear. So your left rear has got to be pushed down to get maximum traction, which means the right front is going to be light. Yeah. And if you look at there was a guy in the States who ran like a bicycle wheel on the right front because it hardly ever touched the ground.
Yeah, I saw that, and that got outlawed, didn't it?
Yeah,
recently.
yeah, it did. It got outlawed because
tried to run the real skinny.
It changed the unsprung weight and all that sort of rubbish, you know. So those that know. The rest of you sit back and enjoy it because it's spectacular.
So look, I think the big takeaway. I mean, obviously, I don't think you'll find anyone that had a bad word to say about the 21 Speedway, and especially with what happened at Waikaraka, there's even more of a push that 21 Speedway is going to be the next hope and going to be the way forward. I think it's important at this stage to remind people of what Kerry Broker said, saying that Speedway, 21 Speedway sits kind of in the golden zone. You've got Huntly, you've got Bay Park, you've got Waikaraka. You know, so the idea is to work with those tracks, not against them. And that, I think, is important for the entire Speedway community to realise that we're all in this for the same reason, to go racing and to enjoy racing. That's so right. We've got, the more tracks we've got to race on, the better off we are. And if 21 Speedway becomes the big bowl that we do all the top races at, fantastic. It doesn't matter. It doesn't stop you going and supporting your driver. It just doesn't. So get in there and support.
And if you live over the shore and you used to go to Western Springs, it's not too far to go. Now it's a little bit further to go to Waikaraka. It's a darn sight further to go down to Mary on Saturday or Sunday or whatever day they have a race meet. So
and it's a darn sight further still to go to Bay Park.
I know the hope is still for Western Springs. I think they've got to really stop. This is the Western Springs faithful have really got to stop bagging Waikaraka and get behind it, because A, it's their money through council money, $11 million, and there's more to be spent in this off season and hopefully another season after that. So let's progress and get motor racing. Let's get open wheel racing happening strongly. Like you say, there's enough there for everybody, including Kihi. And I mean, Kerry's very, very keen to embrace that whole thing. And hey, how about we do a race meet for these guys on this day, and then this group, they can be at theirs on this day, and you go and be there on that day. And so no, you don't have 3 sprint cars at this one, 2 at that one, and 5 at that one. It just seems stupid. But get one field of 10 or 15 or 20 plus cars, and I think that's a really healthy way to look at it, rather than I want to be the guy with all of the marbles and everything. Just like use the marbles wisely, so we can get our paying audience. And one thing I'll finish this one up, but I'm really impressed, considering we were only there weeks ago at 21 Speedway. We were only there weeks ago, and I'm looking around going, dude, you're going to have this ready to go, even a test and tune. You're going to have the paying public. You've got to have facilities there. You're going to have toilets, all that sort of stuff. You have food, you have parking. Golly, good luck with that. Well done. And all I can say is
fantastic effort by everyone involved, and also by the fans that turned up. Good on you for that. And let's look forward to supporting it into the future, and supporting it wherever your local races are going, because leave the politics to the politicians, because clearly they're buggering things up as it is, and let's get on with the things that we do well, and that's motor racing.
Let's enjoy some motorsport.
We're on the same team, guys.
Now, as we were talking about the excitement of the dirt track racing, Esports, we've got the racing series coming up as well, and this is where most racing drivers cut their teeth these days, or keep themselves in trim when they're not in the car, is they go esport racing.
Yeah, so we've got the New Zealand Esports have greenlit, it used to be called the NZIGP Racing Series, but we don't have a title for it just yet. Expecting to have an announcement at the start of May, which isn't that far away. But
let's count down. 5, 4.
Yeah, but look, so that's happening for another year. We missed out last year because we just couldn't get the funding and the backing sorted in time. But we're going again. Usual story. Currently looking out for a few sponsors and a few partners to really make it a premier event. But for the here and the now, at the very least, we are going to have some racing. And there's going to be a national title on offer too. There's going to be an actual...
And by that you can say that Huncorp Esports, you're going to be a big part of it.
Well,
big part of it.
Lewis Atkinson and Ben Groves, the 2 drivers, they were the runner-up. They were 2nd and 3rd in the series, and they're going to be gunning for the top spot this year. I know that. All
right. So what classes are we racing?
It's all still to be arranged. We've got a few chats with a few very, very familiar faces to cement a few deals, but it's probably going to be something for everyone. I'd like there to be a race in a street car, a race in a GT car, wings and slicks. You know, the idea is to sort of, it's a driver's challenge, right? You've got to be good at everything rather than just do one car really, really well. So, yeah, again, more details on that. I'll probably have more for us to share next week.
All right, cool.
At the very least, it is happening.
How do we get involved in it?
There'll be an announcement. We'll be covering it on Hooncorp, and there'll be a Discord, which, you know, if you're a gamer, you know what Discord is. So
Hooncorp connection is like right there.
So like I say, more on that to come, like literally in the next 7 days. But for the here and the now, it is happening. And yeah, if you were racing in the previous years, come back and have another crack at the top.
Seeing as we've got you in the esports mode, now this kind of piqued my interest when we were talking to B about Supercars. She was an esports racer, and she was racing a midget. There's dirt track racing, there's speedway racing, there's midgets, sprint cars. I believe there's late model racing, there's super saloon racing, and I know a lot of the guys that I know in speedway, they do their practice races on it. How easy or difficult do you think it would be to run, say, a winter series of speedway? Ooh. And you get people like Michael Pickens, and you see if we can get Jonathan Allard behind the wheel of a sim car. That would be great.
If we did
Wouldn't
like
that be
an
cool?
All-star invitational.
Because you know Brad Lane would love to have it, and we cover super saloons, sprint cars, midgets. God, if there's a super stocks one you could do, that would be hilarious.
Well, see, Brad could do both. He could do modifieds, and he basically is a midget. So I mean, at the end of the day, he could be in two classes. For one. What about the chance of me and Nick in sprint cars taking on Rodney Wood in sim?
Hey, Rodney.
Yeah, but before you say yes, Rodney, loser.
Straight away. Can't drive to save myself
racing,
on there.
Right, and the thing about, iRacing is the go-to for Speedway, right? For virtual Speedway. iRacing being an American game, so naturally there's all the American tracks, there's all the American cars, all the different shapes and sizes. You got banked, you got flat, you got half mile, you got quarter mile, you got clay, dirt, all the different shapes and sizes and setups that you can think of. And even they have now the official World of Outlaws series. Some racing stuff. So they actually do Chili Bowl in December. They do the Knoxville Nationals. They actually have these events replicated in the virtual world with the same. I think Chili Bowl is a bit more simplified because the real Chili Bowl is 4-day affair, 5-day affair.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I think they toned that one down, but everything else is pretty much a proper meeting. And the thing about sim too is, obviously no weather concerns, but I'm pretty sure, I haven't looked into it yet myself, but I think you can kind of play God a bit with the conditions as far as the track. Do you want it relatively consistent and safe, or do you want it to evolve and get a bit rutty and get a bit
slick off towards the end?
Yeah, you can sort of dictate how you want that dirt to evolve over the meeting. And then, if you just want a nice safe surface to go out and punch out laps, happy days. But if you want the authentic, gritty, the track isn't quite the way you want it, you can do that as well, I believe. So
Esports Speedway sessions.
That's what I'll be looking at.
Okay, we're going to go looking into that. And just before we go, a little bit of late breaking news. Mitch Evans.
Yes.
Your favourite sport, Formula E, has been driving with Jaguar. It's had a reasonable amount of success too. He's pretty good. He's leaving Jaguar.
Oh.
Yes.
See, you go and buy one Nissan Leaf, or you end up with one Nissan Leaf, and I'm an ambassador for e-racing, not a chance.
He's not leaving Formula E though, he's going on to another team, so that came out this morning.
That's been a pretty good tenure. Hasn't he pretty much been with them from the start?
And he's done a lot of really good development work for Formula E. So while he hasn't been the winningest driver, he has been one of the most consistent drivers that have helped shape the way Formula E has come forward.
So Formula E is just about to launch its Gen 4, I think.
Yes, it is. There's it is, and he's going for a new team, but more on that later.
And speaking about new chassis, Formula Racing as well, Toyota Gazoo Racing in New Zealand are looking at a new chassis as well.
The FT60 replacement.
Plus.
I wasn't surprised by it. I was actually thinking a while ago that the FT60's been in service for a good few years. I was thinking, surely we're about to hear about the FT70. Yeah. It's not called the FT70, but I can't remember exactly what it's called. But it's coming more in line with the global, because you've got the Formula Oceania, and then you've got the Formula Europe, and it's all sort of regionalised. I think they're bringing it sort of more across the board. If you
All right, we're going to talk about that properly a little bit later down because he's getting ready to. He's about to push the button. But I got to tell you, very soon as the Waiuku Dirt Track Club Valley Sprint Series is coming up. But
actually, that'll be great. Remember, they took a modified.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Ryan Turner's a nut job. So
Rodney,
that'll be cool.
In the forest rally?
But we've got one more final thing.
Go on then.
A debut on Saturday night at Waikaraka Park.
Yep.
And this guy here is going to be going out for a passenger ride in a 630 horsepower burnout car, twin turbo LS powered Toyota Starlet with Sean Stewart.
Oh my God.
He's actually been confirmed today is going to be driving, and the weather's looking good. He's going to be driving the burnout car, and he's going to be in the silly seat there. You've got to take a camera with you. I know what you're going to see, just smoke, but 600 plus horsepower. Nathan's going to be out there going. I went for a ride with Sean, and I'll tell you, you'll never forget it. You'll never forget it, mate. Unbelievable.
Sean, drive it until the tyres pop. He's going to absolutely love it. Now, do wear some padded underpants. Because if those steel braids come through...
Well, last time I was with him, he hit the wall. He hit one of those concrete blocks, old Shawnee, so he really throws it around. And that's Sean Stewart. And the car's called Zero Tyres, the little Toyota Starlet with big turbos sticking out. Yeah. Thanks to his sponsors. So looking forward to that one.
We'll have some footage on that. It'll be great. It'll be mostly cloudy, but there will be a before and after of this man's face. You'll love it. See you next time.